the Silver Screen Project.
Welcome to the Silver Screen Project, where we look back at a series of films in anticipation of an exciting new cinema release.
In preparation for the brand new Kenneth Branagh flick, A Haunting in Venice, we went back and watched the first one,
Murder on the Orient
Express, and now we went back and watched last year's Death on the Nile. What did you think of the big old Nile death?
Well, I think that the
multiple deaths on the Nile.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I think the makers of this film were in denial if they thought they could recapture the magic of the first one. No, that was my opinion going into it, but I actually enjoyed this quite a lot. I think there's definitely flaws with it. I think the cast is nowhere near as strong.
Yeah.
The characters themselves, I feel like they're weaker and they're a bit... Like, there's less of them, I'm pretty sure, the central cast. But I think the mystery is quite interesting. I think even knowing what's happening, I think I guessed it first time round, and this time round, you know it from if you've seen it before, you know it from the start. I enjoyed it. I don't think it's quite as classic as the original, but I think it's fun and it's different enough that I had a pretty good time watching this.
Nice.
How about you?
I do not think this was very good.
No, okay.
No, it's missing the magic of the first one. I've got some notes on why I think that is as well.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
The cast isn't as strong.
Yeah, I agree.
Some of the performances are quite flat.
I think, in a weird way, I think this almost feels like they were trying to either end the series or this should have been like the third film.
Yeah.
A lot of the it becomes more personal, both in Poirot's relationships and the certain deaths in this.
Yeah.
Feel like they should have kind of capped it off. Or sometimes they'll do like the last mystery in a series is solving the murder of the friend or the lover or whatever. They've almost kind of done a bit of that in this.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that there's some weird choices. Not least of all in the casting. There was controversy in the cast when it came out, and there's even more now with recently.
God, yeah.
So you watched it on the Friday before?
No. So me and Christina started watching it.
Yes.
On a Friday.
Yeah.
We then paused it to go over to your house. The next day, it turns out that Russell Brand is a sex pest.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the day after that, we've watched the rest of the film, and I was like, oh yeah, I went to my notes, and so far I'd written one negative, and that was just Russell Brand.
Oh, you called it.
I was ahead, because I've always thought Russell Brand was a bit of a twat.
I mean, a lot of these times these things come out, and I don't want to be I told you so, but sometimes you go, oh yeah, I kind of had a bit of a weird vibe with that person. Yeah, I've never loved him, so
yeah, and he's gone down that weird alt-right rabbit hole.
Yeah, the soapbox online situation, and it's a whole thing. But at the time, the thing that marred the success of this was Armie Hammer's allegations, which were tinged with cannibalism, which I don't know.
I've got some
how much that went into.
Yeah, that was it.
That was one of the reasons for. Well, there was the Fox Disney merger, and then COVID, and then
this was delayed like 4 times.
Yeah, and eventually, it came out. Was it January, February 22, something like that?
February 22.
So it's only been out for a year and a half, and it feels like a long time since I saw this. I guess it's been a busy year, but yeah. But there's some good stuff in this. I think visually, I think it's a bit flat. I think it looks way more green screeny than the first, even though they probably used the same amount.
Some of the cinematography is quite good.
Some of the actual cinematography is quite good, but it looks, they've done something where it's a bit kind of flat, a bit Marvel kind of grayscale. The costuming, I think, is generally very good.
Costuming's very good, yeah.
One thing that I will say about Russell Brand, his character is often very nicely dressed in this film. And I'm like, there's some, kind of
he
fun,
looks really good
some
in
fun
this.
fashion choices. Same with the dresses. Emma Mackey and Gal Gadot's characters both have, some fantastic outfits at times. The Cleopatra bit is very bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah.
I kind of get what they're doing. It's the rivalry thing and the school play or whatever. But it's just, I guess that's what rich people did in the 30s. They just look at me, I'm on a ladder dressed as Cleopatra.
Yeah. We said the cast is a bit mixed, and the performances are a bit flat.
Yeah.
I did think that even though the character wasn't particularly good, I thought Emma Mackey's really good.
I think her performances are fantastic. I think it's very nuanced at times, and she has this unhinged quality that
she's excellent. I think the characters stupid and poorly written.
Yeah, we'll talk about the plot later on. But
Emma Mackey, and I kind of forgot that.
I think she's very, very good at this.
It's like, man, she really like makes you believe her character more than the script does.
In kind of every iteration, there's three versions of her in a way. There's the pre-everything version where she's in love, and there's the horniest dance scene that I've seen in a film for old ladies ever. Like, I was like, this is very two in a row actually. You know?
Yeah, and then we got the bitter ex.
The bitter ex, which entirely convincing, and then the kind of reveal version which is a twist on that bitter ex thing, really, in a way, isn't it?
But yeah, she's really
good. And Kenneth Branagh has a couple of good moments. He has when he's talking about his love, Catherine, dying from the bombing at the field hospital thing. He's very good in that.
As always, the kind of final look all the characters in.
Yes.
It's such a big scene for this kind of film that you have to nail it, and he did once again.
Yeah, he does again. Yeah,
really
I like he's got the staff on board to just all lock everything up. And it's like
what? Who do these staff work for? Because it's not him.
Yeah. No, it's not him. No. Well, it's Gal Gadot, but she's. And there's a bit where they go. It's just to kind of make sure the staff aren't suspect at all. They will leave the boat at midnight, which seems bizarre. When they all camp on the shore, or I guess they're not worthy of.
Guess so.
Sleeping on this boat.
Speaking of cast, I thought it was fun seeing French and Saunders reunited as
they're not bad. I thought it was bizarre initially that Jennifer Saunders has an American accent, but for the character it kind of works. And this kind of
they're both close friends with Kenneth Branagh.
Yes.
So but like if you're British and you see them, you're just like, oh yeah, cool.
Yeah. They were quite good. I can't remember too much of the rest of the cast, to be honest. I think the character who's the lawyer, he's okay. He kind of has a bit to do where he also tried to kill her at one point with the rock, and it's a fun little addition.
Love interest.
Yes, who is in Black Panther.
Yeah, also controversial person.
Yes, she was an anti-vaxxer.
But she's quite good in this, particularly that scene.
Letitia Wright. Yeah.
Particularly that scene where it's revealed that
the second case, the original case.
Yeah, Poirot's been spying on her. She's really good in that scene.
Yeah, because you see like a double thing where it's the relief that he's like vouch for her, which turns to this kind of hang on, like what have you got to say? Like why have you got to be any judgment of me kind of thing?
Exactly.
And, I really like that. I think in the first time watching this round, I didn't like that extra bit, and I thought this is weird. I don't really understand what's going on. Yeah. But this time round, I'm like, I like the extra layer to the whole thing, and it kind of it excuses some of the like, oh, he's just stumbled into this case kind of thing.
And I think it kind of needed that bit because the rest of it is a little flat. Like the plot's
it's also really weird that the murder only happens like halfway through.
Right. So I wrote that. Well,
I remember not liking that the first time around. So we'll talk about that in a little bit.
A couple more positives. I mentioned the last time that there was some funny moments. There was a couple of funny moments in this.
Okay, yeah.
One was when it was. I think it was Jennifer Saunders' character when Poirot's interviewing everyone. And she's like, "You accuse me of murder," and Boot goes, "He accuses everyone of murder." And Poirot's like, "It's true, it's a problem." I was like, that's a fun line.
In this
he
one
does accuse everyone.
There's quite a lot of him like doing the whole, and you did this and this and this, and it's like, but no, you could not have. And it's like, come on, mate, like you got to keep in your pants a little bit.
I thought one of the better scenes as well was Book's death scene.
Oh yeah, that's fantastic.
Book is one of the best characters
because it's got this
films.
Whole tragedy to it that he's trying to be a better person, and he almost curses. I think he literally does say like, curse you for trying to make me like by association making me like want to be a good person, falling in love. But then he did this thing to try and get this independence, and it embroils him in the whole plot.
It's also the setup where he's like, I got one more interview to do, and he interviews Book, and Book's like, wait, what have I got to do with this? And it's a surprise to the viewer as well.
Yes,
you're like, but Book's his side man. He's his friend.
But compared to the first one where he had the alibi, in this he doesn't actually have the alibi, so it could well have been him. But that's one of the ones where he does go into this whole like, and you murdered him and you did this, her, and it's like, but it actually didn't. And it's like, you need to.
That's pretty much one person.
I'm mixed on the actual the murder plot itself, and we can talk about it in a sec. Because I imagine you've got some problems with it. I quite like the idea of the fake shooting and the leg and all that, but I think that the time frame they give on screen is too tight for it to actually happen. I like the Rose Leslie, the French maid, seeing like that part with the subtle blackmail and stuff.
So if we're getting into the murder, and I think this is what when I realised.
Before that, I like there's a little chase scene, as in the last one, where Poirot suddenly starts running after the murder. Like a cleaver gets thrown and stuff.
And when he turns around and everyone comes out of the room, and you're like, it could be any of them.
That's good bit. Yeah.
But I think I realised watching this what makes this film not as magical as the first. Right. Is like the murder case. Firstly, it takes ages to It's literally just over the hour mark that the murder
and it's
happened.
2 hours 10 the film, so with 10 minutes of credits, so it's halfway,
which is ridiculous for a murder mystery film. Only half this film is a murder mystery. I think the other thing that annoys me is when you watch a murder mystery, half the fun is going along with the character, trying to figure it out and trying to guess who it is. Like in the first one, there's lots of clues as to what it is, and it comes all together. In this, they don't give any clues about what happens. They rule a few people out.
I mean, there's the actual physical clues that turn up a few times.
Yeah,
but they're few and far between, and a lot of them come in one go. Like there's the gun and the two scarves all come together,
and you don't really know what that means. Oh, there's a scarf that doesn't help.
And the red paint comes early on. That's the thing that reminded me of the fake blood situation.
It's like in the first one, when you find out Johnny Depp's the kidnapper and all these people got connections, you're like, oh,
They've
person could have
motives to do
in this, and then it comes in the end, and you're like, none of this was foreshadowed.
I think the main thing for me is on those lines, and it's the almost the lack of motives, because it's only just before Gal Gadot gets killed that she comes to Poirot and says, I actually think that maybe they're all trying to kill me, and you go, okay, why? And then you only really get. Like, even the lawyer that tried to throw the rock off, it's not really super clear. I guess he was embezzling, but it's not really, because Poirot says pay him back. And then, like, Russell Brand, he was the spurned lover, but not really. It's like, he doesn't really...
I thought it was weird that the lawyer was one of the
suspects
because of embezzling.
Yeah.
We had that in the last film.
Yeah, with Josh Gad's character.
Was also a suspect because it was embezzling.
Yeah.
And it was like, we're just doing this again.
And they go like, well, actually, no, you wouldn't do that because you want the money to carry on. There's no reason why you would.
Yeah, it's just like, I think murder mystery films are fun because you can almost play along.
Yeah.
And you couldn't really in this, which just kind of makes it not a...
I know what you mean. I think there was something about knowing it going in and knowing that it was the accomplice kind of thing and this kind of really long plot, I think intrigued me, and I was kind of kept going by that. Whereas the first time I was like, I think it might be them, because it becomes kind of apparent about halfway through when she's still there and she has this convenient alibi of being like drugged in the other room. You think it's the most obvious to some degree.
I do think like the actual murder and the time frames are a bit tight.
It's him running up quickly before Russell Brand came
that's
around.
actually quite fun, and it's like they've actually secretly been plotting against her.
This is what I mean. I like this side of it.
Actually, but
it's the investigation after that is a bit messy. And I think, and it's also really annoying. Like the Book's mum is like, oh, just come on, hurry up. Like she just constantly belittling him, and it just really annoyed me because it's like, this is not helping.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it's just, maybe if later on she was like, come on, there's 3 murders now. But like, before anyone else has been killed, she's like, you're supposed to be a detective. Come on, hurry up.
Yeah.
We're like, we're only 10 minutes after the murder.
There should have been a couple of extra things, like maybe like the 2 accomplices, like you see them having a conversation, like a calm conversation in the background or something.
Yeah, and it's like, so you spot it, hang on, why are those 2 talking?
Something like that, just so it makes you think.
Because there's the Book's raincoat going missing, his weird red Mac that he was wearing for some reason, and like that goes missing, and the green on the painting, and there are certain clues, but that's an extra thing on top.
It seems like the raincoat, you don't even, like when he said, where's your raincoat? I was like, I don't even remember him wearing a raincoat.
I did, to be fair. I remember he was wearing this red coat all the time, and I was like, why is he fucking wearing it? It's not raining. It looks like you're wearing like Paddington's coat here for some reason.
Yeah.
But like, it's not, that clue isn't really related to anything else. The main clues are the gun that's been missing. It turns out that the singer who Poirot kind of falls in love with.
Yeah.
it's whatever. And we know, I imagine, for this third one that she's probably not going to be in that. She's probably dead or something.
And there's the red paint that goes.
The red paint. That's the first main clue.
But then, like,
because it's really hammered in with her painting all the time, and then it's revealed of the green.
But then it's only like you only really figure out the relevance of that at the end, because there's no suggestions that it could be. Maybe they said like, oh, maybe she's painting something that's got blood on it. Like she's painting blood or something, so it's blood red. But, on the Russell Brand, obviously bad.
Yep.
Gal Gadot.
Oh, I didn't even mention that. Yeah.
So like, I know a lot of people have issues with her. I don't think she's a particularly bad actress. I think she's overhated, but I think she's very specific roles suit her. And I don't think this is one of them. I think she's miscast.
I think she can be very charismatic in a particular way. Some of what they've done with her with Wonder Woman, where she's being this kind of like a Superman beacon of kind of hope and all that.
Works as
she's
Wonder
very
Woman,
good.
Particularly the first Wonder Woman.
Yeah, there's certain aspects where you look at her and you go like, I really like this character. She's very charming and all that, charismatic. But some of the lines that she delivers in this.
The one?
Enough champagne to fill the Nile.
And it's like, oh God.
It's just like, someone do another take of that. Like, it's not. And like, her facial acting is quite good. When she comes in and she's scared and she's talking to him, I think she does an okay job of portraying it, but it's some of the line deliveries almost need a second run. And I know that it's getting close to criticizing her accent, and I think we've talked about her on pod before. There are elements of that, but it's also just sometimes she's just not very convincing in the way that she, says her lines, basically.
Which is a shame. The other main thing that I thought was annoying was when Book dies. And like he spends like, when they're like, who was it? And he spends 5 minutes leading up to saying it, so he gets shot. And it's like such a boring trope at this point. The person gets shot just before they say so much time to say it.
Don't they say when he's figuring it out? He's like, and an Army Hammer gave like a subtle warning. What did he say?
He said something.
He said something, but was like, that the cue to shoot him in the throat?
By the time he said that, Book had been talking for 5 minutes about like, oh, I didn't mean to.
He could have suddenly just blurted it out in the middle of his other. I get that. What did you think of the moustache origin at the start?
Right, that's it. So I thought it was fun seeing war era Poirot.
Yeah, him using his skills
and seeing his like captain or whatever having this big moustache, and you're like, okay,
Inspo,
and I was like, it's nice seeing him do this role. The moment he then gets to the hospital, it turns out he's got a big moustache because he's got a facial scar, which covers way more than what the moustache is.
That was when it was an open wound at that point. It would have closed up a bit. I was like, it's still pretty. When you see him at the end, you go, you don't need that.
It's pretty dumb, and
it's a combination of remembrance of his captain, who he seemed to have a big, he's a big fan of.
I did see some trivia in the first film. He says to Johnny Depp's character that he doesn't like his face; he's got scars, so it's not symmetrical.
Right. Which
could then be...
because they don't really go on about that side of his character at all in this, do they? There's the cakes at the start. When he's at the restaurant and he orders the 7 cakes, he's like, remove one. So they kind of hinted it, but
they kind of drop it.
Which I'm, kind of glad with. Yeah,
because it was one thing we said.
But now with the scars, that would have, if they'd emphasised that a little bit more, I would have. Yeah. But also, I suppose it was the last. His lady love told him to grow a moustache, and then she died shortly after. So it's a double remembrance thing.
Yeah,
but it's weird that he kind of like leaves that side of himself behind at the end, and we know. I'm pretty sure on the poster he's got a big moustache for the new one.
Yeah, bizarre,
weird,
and the cut open wound just seemed like down his jaw ear.
It was like a full Joker
like on his
Two-Face situation. Yeah.
I've got. Unless you got anything else, I've got some trivia.
No, nothing else to say.
So I've got a few bits of trivia. The first one is the details of Hercule Poirot's military service, tragic laugh, and facial scarring that prompted him to grow his iconic moustache were all invented for this film. Despite writing dozens of novels and short stories featuring Poirot, Agatha Christie never delved into his past.
Okay.
So it's like, obviously Kenneth Branagh was like, oh, we want to give more depth to this character it's kind of fun having those scenes in a sequel.
Yeah.
So I get it.
It's like quite a long opening scene as well, isn't it? And I remember the first time I saw that was on a plane on somebody else's laptop or something, and I was watching this opening scene like across the aisle, and I was going, "What film is this?" I was like, "Is it 1917? No, it's not, because it's black and white." And it's this long thing, and then you see young Kenneth Branagh, and I was like, "Is this the new Poirot film?" And then I saw them, so I put that together, and I was like, "Wow."
The next one, as we mentioned, the movie was delayed several times. Originally set for a 2019 release, a delay in filming pushed it to 2020. Then COVID happened. It got pushed around several times until being set for fall autumn 2021. Yeah. Then in April 2021, it was pushed back to February 2022 because of the Army Hammer accusations. So that's 3 years of just being pushed several times.
Yeah. I mean, it's at this point, depending on how
Disney Plus, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there is some sort of curse situation going on here, because if you count Johnny Depp in it as well, I can't think of anyone else from the first film who has any kind of controversy. But I mean, when we talk about the new one, whenever that comes out, we'll have to see if anyone's maybe a potential.
I don't really know the cast for the new one.
I think it's got smaller and smaller again. Although maybe it's that they advertise the big ones, and then there's smaller cast that we'd recognise but aren't like household names.
So the other one says final film of Army Hammer. He was dropped from his agency in all future projects after allegations of abuse in 2021. This film had already begun shooting by then. He had a role in Next Goal Wins, which came out this year, but it was reshot with Will Arnett.
Yes, I did see something about that.
This is literally the last thing he's done.
You know what's like probably one of the worst things would be if you were Emma Mackey and you had to film that very intimate dance scene after hearing about the allegations. Yeah, that would be a real challenge. Well,
fortunately, the shooting was finished.
Oh, shooting was finished. Right? Okay. Yeah. I thought you said partway through.
So nobody actually had to work with him after the accusations.
No,
but it must have been weird for both Emma Mackey and Gal Gadot to then hear those accusations. And be like,
I mean, you never know. People can be quite hush hush about things if it's under wraps, so they might have seen behaviours and kept it themselves for the time being.
Makes sense.
Yeah, be like, I'm not going to work with this guy again, and then he comes out and you go, yep, definitely not going to work with him because he's not working ever again.
No,
there's something about him working in a hotel in like Hawaii or something.
Really?
Yeah.
To be fair,
but I think it's because
he's probably loaded.
His family are also quite rich, so I think he was doing a bit of PR stuff by being like, look at me, I'm normal.
Yeah, I kind of imagine him in real life, like his character in The Social Network.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. What are they called, the Van Winkle twins or something?
That's just
his characters in The Social Network.
But that is Death on the Nile. So the only thing left to say is the question of whether this got you more or less hyped for A Haunting in Venice, Proj yes or Proj no?
Yeah, I thought I was going to go full Proj no, but I quite enjoyed this. So I'm going to go Proj yes. It definitely didn't hurt my expectations or hype for the new one. No,
I'm gonna say Proj no because I really enjoyed the last one.
Yeah,
and that got me all hyped up. And then I watched this and I was like, oh yeah, this is what the film could be if
it could be the
bad.
Other side.
Yeah,
it could be worse.
Could literally be either like the first one or the second one on my spectrum of the new one.
People have been saying it's a little bit spooky, which I hadn't thought about.
It's
until,
a haunting in Venice.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that until now. Full disclosure for listeners, we're going to go see it in about 20 minutes. So I don't want to be too scared.
Yeah.
What's your prediction for who the murderer is going to be? Out of the cast,
I know one cast member.
Michelle Yeoh.
Oh no, she's in it.
Michelle Yeoh.
No, the one cast member is Kenneth Branagh.
It's probably not him. Michelle Yeoh, Jamie Dornan, Tina Fey. I don't know who else. Maybe Tina Fey.
I'm not a huge fan of Tina Fey.
Have we had we have had a lady. I was going to say we had a lady murderer. The first one had about half of them were ladies, weren't they?
I'm going to say Jamie Dornan's in this. I'm going to say it's Jamie Dornan.
Yeah, they might do like he turns out to be all like slimy and he's like like a slug.
Yeah, but that is Death on the Nile. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. And if you want to hear more stuff like this, thank you. If you want to hear more stuff like this, we got the Project on the same podcast channel.
We do.
Okay, thanks. Bye. See you in Venice, bitch.
Ooh.